Welcome, it's Mad along with Goo, and today we're going to talk about the King of Dragon Quest X, the Netherworld, Negel. Stay tuned on how well he does, and well, why he's good, and why there's someone a little better. Negel is a very, very powerful unit. Leadership effect, one of the best leadership, if not the best leadership effect, with increased physical power plus 15% to all. This is a boss, has 65 uh, weight, and this is the one main negative of Nuggle is it's not quite as powerful as the 65 weight is, even though there is a lot of good things to him. But just going through the skills, Miasma Pellet, very strong physical zap damage with 4 range, and this is very important a little later on. Dread Fire Scythe is a Frizzle skill that does 250 damage. Look at that huge range and moves them back 2 squares. Why is this important? Um, because of the fact that being able to do this, knocking them back and having a range of 4, that actually 2 extra spaces can move them up to 5 spaces away. And the Dread Sizzle Scythe can also do inflict 280% physical damage and often will bind units, which means that they can't move. So Nelgel is a very strong unit that can actually keep units from moving around, which allows you to really focus and is great at PvP. But the one big negative is doesn't have the largest amount of overall power. But let's go to the perk. We're gonna the first one here for the perks here is got dodge rate damage for the first 3 turns. Very, very, very strong. Basically, it's 100% dodge here. Greatly does it. Um, and does additional inflicted damage on enemies for the first 3 turns. It is needed, as I say, Dread's Fire Skies and Sizzle Skies doesn't have the highest percentages, but with his strength is very, very strong. But what I really want to talk about is the third, along with the natural run, where every time someone's defeated, it doesn't mean that an enemy is defeated or an ally, it's both. So if you are playing PvP and someone else kills, say, one of those units and one of your units, does this twice. It raises attack, defense, move for 2 turns, and this is with any unit there. So with just as I say, with just the one um, convex, Nagel is very strong, but with 3, he is ultra strong because he also gets then 200 HP and 50 MP. Someone's defeated. That is very, very important because one of the weaknesses is that the MPs are relatively small, but if you can defeat some units, especially with its attack, like say a Dreadfire Scythe out first, it will heal, it will move on, and it is a very, very nice unit overall. Second, fourth is Whoosh and Zam resistance, and the last one is increased speed when someone's defeated for 2 turns. That is a little bit expensive for what it does, but it's still really, really nice. So if you fully awaken Nalco, basically everything will then increase. But I think the strongest one's the attack defense move, which is what anyone will get it if you get Nalco. The restores 200 HP and 50 MP. The MP is the most important, just trying to keep it around. And then for me, the speed is last. The main reason is 447. That's with the full convex, which basically gives you 4 to 5 uses of the very powerful skills. But with the 50 MP, you can actually keep on doing it for quite a while. And that is by far the most important thing out of all of this. But what's nice is the HP is pretty high at 1217. The defense is a little bit low. That's okay overall, because remember, if you can kill units, it will increase its defense fairly quickly, but that attack is incredibly high. So kind of depending on how you build, you might actually really be able to get a really powerful attack out there. And it does build up, but there is a better unit. But this is a kind of a counter, very soft type of counter to that unit, but still in the top 10. So if you really like Nelgel and the skill arc, I cannot blame you for going for him. Preferred weapon is going to be his Scythe. It's going to be released very, very soon. Attack power 28, physical power 4%. Basically, you're looking for the skills or attack power HP, which is basically anything there. So you're just going to be looking for the highest overall. Personally, I think with Nelgel, you're best with the Sizzle Scythe. That's what you're probably going to try to be using the most. But if the Fire Scythe works as well, skills, it's simple, blunt, um, or anything that lowers a 10 attack overall, especially if it's like a physical skill as well, that will work. The main issue here is the defense is a little low, so that could cause some major issues here. But personally, I think it's the only skill that you're really going to want to go with Naoko. You may go with a some type of buff as well. You're going to be using it for PV Guild Wars, basically. But personally, blunt is, or a attack skill blunt is the best that you can look for. But not sure if you really even need a skill overall. So we're just going to go real quick here with the pros, cons, and pulls. Pro here, dodge rate for the first complex is incredibly powerful. Third complex makes him even more powerful with the ability to get HP and MP. You go with that along with the attack, defense, and move for 2 turns. Basically, it's designed for a quick overall attack with in PvP and in Guild Wars. Basically, if you're fighting a powerful Nelgel, you need to defeat it first before any of your units get killed. That is incredibly important. The weakness of Nelgel, though, is that if everyone's really far apart, you've got to really make sure that Nelgel doesn't get hit until another unit dies. Otherwise, it will be fairly weak. It is not like a Nocturnus or anyone else that has the +1 to every odd turn gains attack defense there. If the battle takes a little too long, Nelgel will fall too far behind and be able to be one shot. So this is the greatest weakness for Nelgel, is that, but it can be easily combated by just going full steam ahead. So it does kind of limit some of the potential options later on. But what's nice is for PvE, you could hold back for a while until like an enemy lowers or whatever. Then you could go ahead and start killing units, and you still get that power there. So you give and take on that end. But the other thing is the ability here with the Dread Sizzle Scythe here, often binding, is incredibly powerful. And especially with the ability to use Zam at range 4 is incredibly powerful as well. On top of it, has 3 different elemental skills. So very, very good. And the AoE here, especially for Fire Skies, that's just absolutely massive. So a lot of really good powers here. The cons is relatively small here, but it is a very powerful and expensive unit to truly unlock with the 3 convex. It's not like Nocturnus where the 5 gives you that critical upright, but still, it's very expensive overall. But getting it to 1 heart still has a lot of power in general, and that's a lot more palatable. And will I pull? Most likely not hard. If I do get really lucky, I may try and go a little bit farther. So that is really on the edge here. The big issue is if the weight was even 60 or 50, this unit would be really, really worthwhile. But at 65, it's going to be hard to crack because Sorrow, Corvus I feel are a little better than Nelgel. And because of that, that right there, you're at, and sorry, I'm trying to do the math in my head, 195 in order to get Nelgel in there as well as the third unit. And that just doesn't leave a lot for a lot of the overall PvP in general. But it still might be worthwhile as well because those can be some really scary teams uh, for those three. So that's kind of the big con for Nelgal. But once again, if you don't have one of those units, or you're looking for like Nelgal to maybe swap out for one of the other twos for weaknesses and strengths, then very good fit overall. So Lunatick Queen is the other one. There's three different skills here. The main thing here is the paralysis is the big one. Smirk is decent. First Awakening gives Dying Smirk, which if it's KO'd by an enemy, will automatically cast this. 40% paralysis on all enemies. Saboteur also does a 40% paralysis on top of that. And Engaging Shot will pull units towards it. It has great HP, good defense overall, and the Third Awakening gives increase in paralysis success rate, which will allow it to be in around the 60% regions. And once again, if they're weak to it, then that's almost a guarantee. Smirk is incredibly powerful, and a Dying Smirk can be very scary for some units. I know I'm afraid of Lunatic Queen with part of my team because paralysis can be pretty nasty against them. So it is a pretty good unit overall. And personally, this is a pretty solid grouping overall of both units. But in about a week, the most important unit is about to come. It's going to be Mal Dragorath, the World Maker. This is the unit that everyone's waiting for, especially with the leadership effect. But we're going to stick with this here. Still a great unit overall. I hope you guys really enjoy this. These are some pretty good units coming out, but there are some really powerful units coming out between that and the Hero and Dragon Quest 3. So it is going to be a partially expensive month, and I might not even really pull very hard for the World Maker, only because I'm looking forward to the Hero. So I hope you guys enjoy. I'm trying to keep you guys informed as much as possible. I do apologize for this being late, but had camp with my boys. It was very, very fun. And because of that, I just wasn't able to make this until today. So thank you, everyone. Please enjoy, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.